My name is Brian Strain. I've been performing stand-up comedy for the last 11 years. Which sounds like a long time for a comedian you've never heard of, but it is more common than you might think. I'm no closer to success now than when I started. I don't know why I still bother, except that I don't know how to quit. But no, it's 2018 and it's a new year, and a lot of people try and make New Year's resolutions in order to sort of change things about themselves they're not happy with. And they suggest a good thing to do is to give these resolutions a voice so that way you're sort of held accountable to them. So since you're such a nice crowd, if you can just indulge me for a minute, I would just like to read out my New Year's resolutions. So here we are. So, my New Year's resolutions for 2018 by Brian Strain. Number 1, give up. All right, thank you.
First rule of comedy is that you finish on a big laugh. So we may never leave here. This could just be some hell that you're trapped in with me forever. Thank you for listening to my new jokes. I have good jokes, but you haven't paid, so you don't deserve them.
Do you still chase the high? Like when you get up stage and you're excited and you want to get that rush from the audience, do you still get that?
Oh, God, no, I haven't had that in years. No. It's different now. It's for me in comedy is like, I don't know, people who get married in their 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It's about companionship. I'm not after the fireworks anymore. You know, it's a massive high. It's like better than any drug that I've ever done, for sure. That first time, those first few times, so intense. But now, if that was like heroin, then now is like methadone or methadone. It's the methadone that you get from doing a good gig.
And I'm just wanting some professional and frank advice from my contemporaries and friends because at least I feel like I've at least made some friends doing comedy, but I don't know if I've made much else.
Having a job where you actually have to go out and meet people and talk to people is good. And comedy is also good in that it's social interaction that is kind of safe, in a way, and it's often, other comedians. I'd say other comedians are the best parts of the life of doing comedy,
So do you reckon comedy's sort of provided the lifeline for you in that respect? For all the mental illness and stuff you've got?
Oh, yeah. I don't think there are many other jobs that I could do that would allow me to get depressed and sleep all day.
Well, it sounds like you're doomed to be a stand-up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that? You happy with that?
Oh, I love it. I couldn't think of giving it up.
I honestly can't tell if comedy has made me feel less or more alone. At a gig, I'm part of a merry band of misfits. But once the show's over, I'm going home to no one.
This graph is called the ways it can go when you leave prison. All right, so you're person type A. All right, you're finished. See ya. Go. Oh, thank you, society, for this second chance. I'll be on my best behaviour. I can't believe I get a second chance in society. Thank you very much. I think you can all agree, quite nice. Type A. I wouldn't mind having a drink with type A, right? But then you had type B. all right, see ya, you can go back into society. Oh, society put me away and now it's gonna pay. I'm gonna be an absolute prick to every person I come into contact with. And if I meet this guy named Aaron Gox, I'll be like, oh, what are you looking at? And if he says, I'm not looking at anything, I'll be like, why? Aren't I good enough to look at? And then he'll be like, I can't win. This is too much. I can't do this. I'm going to Hungry Jack's.
He's just your classic Aussie, isn't he? There's a little bit of Goxie in all of us.
He is the most influential Australian comedian.
Goxie means to us, it's a way of life.
It's a religion.
I've sort of been continuing down that traditional path and getting nowhere, whereas you kind of took the path less travelled and forged it yourself and made a success out of it. So is there any specific tips that I could apply to my career?
People are coming to see you if you've got a fan base. Who's your favourite band, like Ween or something?
Wing, probably, yeah.
That, also I'm trying to say, if you could replicate that feeling that you have for them, imagine if you had a fan base like that, where people are like, oh, Brian's coming to town, circling on the calendar, got to get Brian's new album.
I have actually found that I do play very well with suicidal people, but they're not a really good returning audience.
I know, yeah.
They don't come back. They say you should write what you know, but cultivating a decent fan base from sad losers can be a bit of a struggle. They also say that comedy is a journey, but it feels like I'm going nowhere.
And the psychic told me, she told me I needed to take myself more seriously and to stop being so self-deprecating. And I'm sort of sitting there and I thought, I think what you've done is that you've confused psychic with bitch. A female MC said to me, like, I didn't do well that night, and nobody did, but she said to me, you're going to really struggle to do well in comedy because men will be thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind fucking her, and women will be thinking, stupid skinny bitch. And I wasn't inspired. I just felt really affronted by that, you know. I didn't know what to do with that, and then I just sort of believed that was true, that nobody would want to take me seriously. We got to the point where if somebody said to me, oh, good gig, I'd be like, why are you making fun of me? You know, like, yeah, so it actually got bad in that respect. And so I think in writing the book that I'm writing, it's me, as corny as this sounds, refining my voice within all of that and sort of redefining that period where I can go, well, actually, you were starting off just like everybody else, and that's okay. And then I'm using, I guess, some of the skills that I built from stand-up at that time to try and make the book funny.
So do you have any regrets from doing stand-up, or?
You know, I want to say I regret not keeping going, but then I think I would have fallen apart at some stage anyway. It's one of those things where it's very difficult to stop because you're always thinking of like little bits, or that's how you sort of frame things in your life, you know, is how can I use that?
It's like trying to learn how to stop reading. How much longer can I maintain my identity as a comedian before it destroys my mental health? Or would the loss of identity be even worse? Because failed comics are the saddest cunts ever.
Yeah, I'm on antidepressants. Obviously. You can think too much, can't you? You know, get a few thoughts out before you get to bed. Ends up being 3 in the morning, doesn't it? Before you ever get to bed, scrawling in your notepad. Whatever. Anyway, it's calmed the mind. Yeah. It's been good, actually, antidepressants. It's sort of given me the space in my life to understand people love me. And it's okay to love them back. The downside is I can't come. That's just a bit of a downer, isn't it?
How do you feel about that, the workload? Because essentially, to be a full-time Australian comic in this country, you need to be able to turn over that new hour every year.
Yeah, I think I'm done. It's just... I am, funnily enough, just coming to the conclusion that I need to take a year off.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel as though comedy's helped your mental health at all?
Wow, that's a fucking interesting question for a lot of comics, I reckon. Has it helped their mental health?
Yeah.
One side is you're exploring your personality and society and you have an outlet that's creative, it's social, it's healthy. The flip side of that coin is I'm my most mentally unwell during the comedy festival.
I've heard that in particular is like like a crazy hurricane of mental illness for
It's
all
because
comics.
you're gigging 6 nights a week, and the pressure and the competition and just like, are people coming? How well are you doing? What are the reviews saying?
It's almost like you're literally getting a star rating for your own self-worth.
That is why comics are who they are, but they're all mentally ill as well, which is why we do it, because we're all fucking seeking something, which is a cliche these days to even say.
It's a bit of a trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like if you'd known then what you know now, do you reckon you still would have taken that first leap of faith?
Definitely. Because it's so rare in life, you find something that you give a fuck about and want to do.
After so many years in the game now and actually being successful, what sort of advice would you have for me now that I'm sort of taking it to the next level to sort of see how it goes?
I think it's stuff that we talked about years ago, which is that if you want to go beyond the 20-minute mark, you've got to have gear changes, because your stuff is very deadpan and it's good. But when you get beyond 10, 20 minutes, it's like, now what? I've said that, I used to say to you, come out and try, come out happy.
But I've literally never experienced that.
You've got to act a little bit. I know you've never been happy.
If I could boil all that advice down to just a little pithy nutshell, your advice for me is, as a performer, I need to give the audience a break from me. People have asked me what first got me to doing comedy. I guess I thought it had something different to offer. Maybe I could give voice to the downtrodden, depressed, and dejected. I remember a while ago, I had an interview at a call centre. It was one of those group interviews. They just sort of get a whole bunch of people in. And they started the day for one of those team building exercises that can kind of sort of assess your personality, I guess. And she said, look, just to sort of break the ice, we'll just go around the room. You can introduce yourself and tell us an interesting fact about you. She said, Brian, you can go first. And I didn't really know how to sort of start that off. So I asked her for an example. She said, oh, look, just for an example, my name's Mary and I have 3 cats. I said, all right, well, my name is Brian and I have no cats. And I have no dogs or fish or pets of any kind. I don't have a car. I don't have a driver's license. I don't have a mobile phone. I don't have an iPod. I don't have much of anything. And yeah, it's like Brisbane's trying to be more like Sydney now or something. I'm like, don't do that. Don't try and be more like Sydney. Because if Brisbane becomes Sydney, then I'm going to have to move from Brisbane as well. And they've put those suicide rallies on the Story Bridge now. So I am pretty much trapped. I started in this business with nothing. And over a decade later, I've come full circle. Maybe this has been a complete waste of my time, money and effort. But maybe nobody really gives a shit anyway.